Hi guys, this is Dr. Sadasivam once again with you. And today I'm going to give you a gist of a training workshop which we did for Hindustan Petroleum on this important subject of total quality management. So we will be touching upon some of those important elements, which includes introduction to total quality management. Then we will look at what is the concept of quality. We will be talking about some of the dimensions of quality, factors that affect quality, and some of the core principles which are followed in total quality management. And then of course we will be wrapping up the session. Now typically if you look at what is the need for total quality control, there are certain leadership challenges that come to our mind. One of which is to delight your customers, reducing cycle times. There have been lots and lots of technological advances, like today you have this advent of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and host of other things are being used in the industry. Retention of people has become a big challenge, reducing costs, quick response to our customers, because customers are becoming more and more demanding. Flexibility is important. Growing overseas market, organic expansion, inorganic expansion, providing shareholder value. There are lots and lots of leadership challenges, and we will see how total quality management as a concept, it is going to address all these concerns. So typically before we talk about total quality management, we will talk in terms of what is the meaning of each of these three words. Total means it is the involvement of everyone in the organization, right from the top executive till the grassroots level employee. And secondly, when we talk about quality, we are typically talking in terms of to what extent we are delivering products or services to the expectation. So any gap between expectations and what is actually offered is quality. A very rudimentary kind of a definition on quality. Of course we will get into the real definitions as per various management experts as we go along, right? And then typically we're going to talk about management, which consists of the same aspects, which are planning, organizing, coordinating, control, etc., etc. So there's a strategy behind all of these, which normally we cover in a 2-day training workshop, but I'll try to encapsulate all that in maybe a 5-10 minutes the presentation. So typically when you talk about the strategy, 4 important strategies are required. I'm doing everything keeping in mind the shop floor, which is one of which is CTQ, which is what is critical to the customer, because we have to design our things in a manner which suits the customer's needs. And then we're going to talk about reduction of defects, and in a statistical quality control language, reduction of defect is normally mentioned in terms of DPMO, which is defects per million opportunities. And then we will be talking about centering around the target, which is typically called as mean. And when you talk about mean, there is a very unavoidable part which comes the full circle, which is the 6 sigma, which means reducing the standard deviation. We have mathematical definitions for all that, because in statistics we all know about something which is called as a dependent variable and an independent variable, and it's a data driven decision. So typically when we talk about that, mathematically we call them as y is a function of x, right? So which means you have set of dependent variables and independent variables. Dependent variables include your outputs, effects, your symptoms. All these are dependent measures, and just very rudimentary examples. And when you talk about independent, your cause, your problem, your processes, your controls, these are kind of independent variables. Now how do we do that? So typically any discussion about total quality management is not complete if we don't discuss DMAIC, which is a broad definition. I'm sure you would have heard these in some of your training programs earlier. I'm sure your managers would have talked to you about these concepts, which is how do you define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Very, very important parts of total quality management. Now let's look at what is the concept of quality. As far as concept of quality is concerned, you can have as many definitions as possible in the dictionary, but we are not talking about that from a very, very surface level. Quality is always in the eyes of the beholder, very much like beauty. For example, we are all office going people, corporate people. We wear shoes to the office. Now, what is our concept of quality as far as the shoe polish is concerned? As long as there is no dust on the shoe, as long as it looks all right, quality is fine with us. But from the eyes of a colonel, for him, the concept of quality differs, because unless the shoe shines, well, it has to shine. If it doesn't shine, then he will say it's of an inferior quality. So the same shoe which is perceived differently by two people is different, right? Same thing holds good for a wash basin at house also. In some houses, wash basin, it's clean, right? As long as there's no stain in the wash basin, as long as it is okay, it is fine. But in a five-star hotel, wash basin means it has to sparkle. If it doesn't sparkle, for them, it's not a good quality. And that is why in five-star hotels, you will find that wash basin is being cleaned by the janitor every 20 minutes. They have a calendar, but we clean our wash basins maybe once or twice a day, right? So the concept of quality differs. So in such a small thing, if there can be such a big variation in terms of perception of quality, imagine quality control in a car manufacturing company like Maruti or Tata or Toyota. You have 15,000 line items in that. So 15,000 items need to be checked for quality, and then you fit them. There is a fitment quality, host of other things. So imagine, it's not such a simple concept, right? So typically when you talk about quality, there are certain key definitions. Not dimensions of quality. So those dimensions, where do they come from? They come from the five important sense organs, right? How do you perceive things? It's, your sense of sight, your sense of touch, your sense of taste, your sense of smell, your sense of sound. Everything matters a lot, right? Sound. Some people ask, what is sound? Sound is, for example, when you close the door of a car, what is the sound that is given? That click sound. You can draw volumes about the quality of the product. Look at a lady's handbag. You buy a 200 rupee handbag in Sarojini Nagar market in Delhi. You close it and see, it gives that clip sound. You buy a Gucci bag. Do that clip. Sound makes a difference, right? So these are some of the dimensions of quality. So what are some of the important factors that affect quality, guys? Lots and lots of factors, out of which the key factors are your management, your dedicated employees, your suppliers, and even the processes that you use in the company. They all affect your process in some way or other. Now, if you look at some of the concepts of quality management, well, what does it say? There are certain concepts which includes your produce quality for the first time. You focus on the customer. You need to have a strategic approach to management, then continuous improvement, which in Japanese call as kaizen, and encouraging mutual respect and teamwork. All these things are discussed as part of quality. So typically, produce quality the first time. In automotive language, we call it as fix it right the first time. For example, you just cannot assume that, okay, I will do this, and somebody else, if there is any mistake or misalignment, somebody down the line will do that. No, you have to do it you have to do it right the first time. Lots and lots of people have contributed it. The small 10 minutes presentation is not sufficient for me to bring all the management gurus, but we will be talking about some of the important management gurus.